We're back. Happy Tuesday, 16th day of June, 2020. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life channel. Got some good stuff for you today. The weather is going to finally gradually start warming up, although we'll be below normal again today and tomorrow. But things are looking good. Finally, sunny and warm weather heading our way. In fact, next week, I think we can safely call it hot. Forecast details are coming up, and in the back half of the hour, just in case you missed it, we're going to replay the interview I did with Dan File yesterday about the 28th Annual Pike Minnow Derby. We'll preview that interview during sports and play it back for you in its entirety in the back half of the hour. We have news to get to. We have Today in History, the obscure holiday. Mike Mignotti's got an opinion and some celebrity birthdays. And by the way, we're going to have some new Mike Mignotti opinions coming your way. In the not-too-distant future, the Mad Dog himself, Morning Charity, the Mad Dog himself came by yesterday and recorded some new opinions. So that'll entertain you, make you think. That's what Mike does best. So with overcast skies for the most part and 52 degrees, let's start our day like we always start our day. Let's take our tour around the valley. It's about 50% sun and 50% clouds right now. The sun's been up for a couple of hours. It came up at 5:03. Sunset tonight right at 9 o'clock, 15 hours and 57 minutes of daylight. That's what it was yesterday, and that's what it'll be tomorrow, as these are the longest days of the year daylight-wise, of course, with the summer solstice coming up on Saturday. And that means my friend Bonnie Orr, the Dirt Diva, will be joining us for a special interview later on, so can't wait to do that. We always interview Bonnie on the solstices and the equinoxes. So we get to visit with Bonnie 4 times a year to talk about gardening tips, yard tips. We'll be doing that a little bit later on this week. Nicely done, nice view from the cross camera at the tip of Wenatchee Heights. And now it's Megan's turn to take over, and I have to guess, ooh, that's a little too dark for me to make that out, Megan. That's the Cole's Corner camera. Apparently Megan doesn't much care for Cole's Corner, because I asked her what it was, and she said on my earpiece, Cole's Corner. Hi, Cole's Corner. How you doing? Up towards the Lake Wenatchee area there. You're down there somewhere. Again, there's a lot of lights in the studio, so sometimes it's hard for me to pick out what I'm seeing on the screen. Not only that, but I should be wearing my glasses, but I don't. I do when I drive and when I golf, and that's about it. Camera number 3 that looks to be the Manson Water Tower. Am I correct? Good. Hey, I got one right. The Chelan Butte way off in the distance there to your left. You can kind of sort of make out the state park, I think. The Bear Mountain Golf Course is up there somewhere. Good morning to our friends in Manson. Manson's going to have the fireworks show this year on Independence Day. Wenatchee will have one as well at Walla Walla Point Park, but that's pretty much it. And of course, the Wenatchee one will be limited to, well, people watching it not in Walla Walla Point Park. Walla Walla Point Park will not be open for the fireworks display on July 4th. Camera number 4. Are we up to 4? We are up to 4. I've lost track of what I'm doing. Looks to be the Arundel Rock camera. And I think I'm correct on that. That would be Lake Antioch, Trail Rock way in the back. Of course, these are PTZ cameras. That's an acronym for pan, tilt, zoom. That means we can pan them and we can tilt them and we can zoom them. And so that's zoomed about as far back as it can be zoomed, and it's way down there in the far distances, the Wenatchee Valley. That's one of our few cameras. We talk about all of these cameras are courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup. That's one of the few cameras that's actually not on a Sky-Fi tower. That's kind of a standalone camera. We put it out there because it's kind of cool to look at. We call it the Arundel Rock camera. I don't know why, because there's a lot of rocks in Arundel, but who am I to question? So good morning to our friends up north. And I have noticed that the highway there on the east side of the river has been considerably busier with all the slope stabilization work they're doing in and around the Knapsill Tunnel between Antioch and Chelan. And so they're asking everybody to use that highway that you see there, and they have been quite a bit. So good stuff as we take our tour. 5 minutes after the hour, I want to show you this slide one more time. This is all about next week. As you can see, this week, below normal temperatures for the most part. We had it yesterday. We only hit 64 yesterday. That's chilly for the middle of June. Our normal high should have been 78, so we were 14 degrees below normal. We're going to be lower 70s today, one more day of below normal, and then we're going to finally warm up starting Wednesday and Thursday. And next week, as you can see, Temperatures will be above normal. We're finally going to have a long stretch of sunny and hot weather. We're talking temperatures in the 90s next week, but there's been a little bit of change in the forecast for the weekend. And let's go ahead and get to that from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, who gives your home a hug. Again, partly cloudy skies today, right around 70. Can't rule out a stray raindrop. Don't think it's going to happen, but there's still enough instability that there's still a slight chance of some light rain, and a wind today, a northwest wind about 8 to 11 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, 53 for the overnight low. Sunshine with a vengeance on Wednesday. Going to be a very nice day. High near 82 degrees, but it's going to be a little breezy at times. We could see gusts between 15 to 20 miles an hour at times late Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night as we dip down to 53. Still going to be a little breezy. Again, about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon Wednesday, overnight Wednesday night into Thursday, sunshine, and we warm up to 86. We'll be right around the 90-degree mark on Friday. And then, as I mentioned before, a little bit of a change in the forecast for the weekend. They were thinking yesterday at this time, quite a bit of sunshine. Basically, we're going to have a high-pressure ridge, but it's a flat high-pressure ridge. It's not a dome. And when you have a flat ridge of high pressure, that means other little systems can knock it out of alignment. And so we could see some widespread clouds, high clouds anyway, on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to cool us down just a little bit on Sunday, but we'll be right around the 90-degree mark on Friday and Saturday. And then the big warm-up begins once we go up past through this little system on Saturday and Sunday. Monday, 89, and then we're looking at the long-term forecast as we just showed you. Temperatures climbing up into the 90s for most of next week, which ironically enough is the first week of summer. 7 minutes after the hour, again, mixture of clouds and sun, 52 degrees. We'll take a quick 1-minute break and come back. And we'll have your Tuesday morning headlines for you. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today, 509-663-1710.
We're back at 9 minutes after the hour, 52 degrees. It'll be right around the 70-degree mark with a mixture of clouds and sun. Lower 80s on Wednesday, upper 80s to near 90 Thursday and Friday. Maybe a little cooler with a few passing clouds on Sunday. Here are your headlines. Grant County saw a record spike in COVID-19 cases last week and its 5th death attributed to the virus. The Grant County Health District reported that a Moses Lake man in his 80s died last Thursday. That's the first virus-related death in Grant County since May 18th. The man had been under hospice care at the Summerwood Alzheimer's Special Care Center in Moses Lake. His death is being described as associated with COVID-19. 6 people who live or work at the care center tested positive for the coronavirus back on June 1st. Grant County, which was approved back on May 23rd to move into Phase 2 of Governor Inslee's Safe Start reopening plan, reported 10 new cases last Wednesday, a one-day record of 13 cases last Thursday, and 8 more cases in Grant County on Friday. Lawyers will be back in court a week from tomorrow in the case of Cuervas v. Inslee. That's the Chelan County lawsuit seeking to overturn the governor's public health orders on coronavirus. 46 local plaintiffs will again ask for a restraining order to eliminate restrictions on operating certain businesses and gathering places. Now, attorneys for the state are going to ask for a stay of proceedings in order to appeal to a higher court. Judge Kristen Ferreira ruled a couple of weeks ago that the case should be heard here in Grant County despite the state's efforts to move it to a Thurston County court. Plaintiffs in the case include 3 Wenatchee City Council members, 2 Grace City Church pastors, The county's Republican State Committee woman and NCW Life show host Carrie Kendata all say the COVID-19 pandemic rules have damaged their personal businesses. Last week, Governor Jay Inslee indicated one of the reasons that Chelan and Douglas counties lag behind most of the rest of the state in reopening is because not enough people here are wearing face coverings to protect themselves and others from the COVID-19 outbreak. And Chelan and Douglas Health District Administrator Barry Kling says he agrees.
Well, he's right. There is good evidence that in communities, in nations or cities, where there's a very high level of masking in public, there are lower case rates. And you can argue about why that is. We think it's mostly because if someone does have symptoms and is coughing or sneezing, it tends to contain that so that the droplets don't spread to other people as much. And so I believe personally that it's a person's civic duty to wear a mask unless they have a medical condition that prevents it. There are a very few cases like that, and that's legitimate. But otherwise, it's a civic duty to do that. It's the way we protect each other. And, anybody who thinks that they have the civil right to infect someone else, I think is missing the point. It's because it's not, you can choose what risk you like and what risk you want to take, but you're taking a risk on behalf of other people.
As more counties move into phased reopening, the Washington State Department of Health warns that Eastern Washington is vulnerable to a surge in COVID-19 diagnoses. Areas of concern include Benton County, Franklin County, Spokane County, and especially Yakima County, where new case counts have increased every day. The department says the new numbers include possible increases in transmission over Memorial Day weekend, but not increases that may have occurred from Black Lives Matter protests that began after May 25th. In Chelan and Douglas counties, the total as of this morning is 457 cases of COVID-19. That's up 2 from the end of last week. Nonprofits in the Wenatchee Valley offered free COVID-19 and other ailments for local agriculture workers over the weekend. They did some free testing. The Community for the Advancement of Family Education, or CAFE, joined Spokane-based RAIs of Planned Parenthood on Saturday to offer coronavirus testing as well as tests for sexually transmitted infections. The testing was aimed at ag workers whose health has been a source of concern during the pandemic. An estimated 180 field workers and packing house employees are among the more than 450 cases of a coronavirus detected in Chelan and Douglas counties. The Chelan-Douglas Health District must meet with local community leaders as part of its COVID-19 recovery plan, and a coalition wants to make sure Hispanic residents are represented in that group. In a letter to the health district, the Immigrant and Latinx Solidarity Group said despite being disappropriately affected by the coronavirus, Latinx community members have been largely left out of the decision-making, and they recommend 4 names for inclusion. The coordinator of the group is Karina Vega-Vila, and she told us a few weeks ago that it's critical that the most affected segment of the community have a seat at the table.
And we were truly concerned because the Latinx community represents a third of the residents of our counties, but we are in the 84% of COVID-19 positive cases. We felt like the health district is not really responding to the needs of the community as a whole.
The health district began its community meetings this week to maintain its phase 1.5 status with the State Department of Health. The Board of Health was set to discuss its reopening strategy at its regular meeting, which was held last night. And that's what's making news at 14 minutes after the hour. We'll have a newscast to keep you in the loop. We think it's very important around here at the NCW Live channel that you keep informed on what's happening in the Wenatchee Valley in North Central Washington. And to preview tonight's news, here's the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Live Evening News, we'll bring you a very cool video of all the Eastmont School District music teachers performing for their students. I'll have your warm North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will have a look at the day's sports action. That and more coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Live Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. We appreciate it. You want to drop us a line, say hi, you got a news tip? Well, you can email us, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. That's a direct email to our news staff. You can go to our Facebook page and drop us a note via Facebook Messenger, or if you go to our website at ncwlife.com, you can see the Contact Us icon. You can click on it. You can either submit a news tip, or you can just drop us a note. Whichever way works, we'll get it here at the Broadcast Metroplex. 16 minutes after the hour, the Hatfields and the McCoys are still going at it. I'm talking about the owners and the players of Major League Baseball. Some pretty sobering news in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guest for, well, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel.
What is it about Tipsy Canyon Winery that keeps people coming back? Is it the magnificent view from the hillside tasting room? Is it the exceptional but affordable wines? Or is it just the fact that you feel right at home from the minute you walk through the door? Actually, it's all this and more. Experience the Tipsy Canyon Winery located just outside of Manson, your new home away from home.
Back at 17 minutes after the hour, let's talk about sports, or the lack thereof, in the world of baseball. The war of words continues between management and players in the world of Major League Baseball. On Monday, the commissioner, Rob Manfred, went back on his own guarantee of a season to say, well, now it's in doubt. Manfred said, and I'm quoting now, and you can see it on the screen, "It's just a disaster for our game, absolutely no question about it. I'm not confident. I think there's a real risk, and as long as there's no dialogue, that real risk is going to continue." End quote. The representative for the Players Union is Tony Clark, and he's pretty happy. And by that I mean he's really mad. He said, and I'm quoting here, and you can see it, "Players are disgusted that after Rob Manfred unequivocally told players and fans that there would be 100% would be a 2020 season, he has decided to go back on his word and is now threatening to cancel the entire season. It's time to get back to work. Tell us when and where." End quote. Come on, guys, get it together. For the first time since the world halted because of coronavirus, Gonzaga, the basketball players, returned to the court. On Monday, men and women for the Bulldogs took to the court for voluntary workouts as the NCAA begins allowing such activity. Gonzaga worked with university officials in the Spokane Regional Health District to establish protocols that address student-athlete safety. Players were not tested for COVID-19, according to GU Athletic Director Mike Roth. Instead, each had their temperatures taken and had to follow monitoring guidelines. So it's not back to normal, but it is a step in the right direction. Spokane, of course, is in phase 2 of Washington's recovery plan, which allows for up to 5 players to be on the court at one time, but they must adhere to social distancing guidelines and equipment. For instance, you got to clean the basketball a bunch of times. Everybody touches it a bunch of times. One looming question for the Seahawks as they finish up distant learning minicamp this week is the future of Quentin Dunbar. As you well know, the defensive back was obtained in the free agent market in the offseason. He's awaiting trial on charges of armed robbery in an incident near Miami last month. Now, Coach Pete Carroll says Dunbar is involved with the team activity as they await the next step in the legal process.
Yeah, he took a few days to take care of the stuff he had to take care of back home. He's still there in Florida. Been very open in the discussions of what's taking place. There's a whole process going on. I don't have the details of where that is right now and wouldn't comment on that anyway, but we have been, very much connected with him and what is next and all of that. It seems like things are taking, I shouldn't even say, I don't even know. But we are following along with him. He is back and participating with us and focusing real well now. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll be right on it. And we are, John and his guys are all over it. And there's just not much I can share with you about it.
Now, Seattle hopes to have Dunbar available when training camp begins. That'll be in late July. A stipulation is on his release for that $100,000 bond that he can't leave the state of Florida. His attorney says they're going to ask the courts to allow him to leave the state of Florida for work if the trial date is not set before camp begins. On a larger scope in the NFL, it was reported by ESPN and other outlets on Monday, the Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott and a few of his teammates and some Houston Texans have tested positive for coronavirus. Now, later in the day, Elliott went to Twitter to ask why his personal health information leaked out to the media. He simply asked, HIPAA? HIPAA's privacy rule, which prevents the disclosure of medical information without a patient approval, it only applies to healthcare providers. Besides the Elliott, the other players were not identified. It's not clear how the players contracted the virus. At least one local event has not fallen victim to the coronavirus pandemic. It's back. It's East Wenatchee Rotary Club's 28th annual Pike Minnow Derby. It's going to be held on schedule this weekend. Dan File of Bob File Boats and Motors join me on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. He's one of the organizers.
The pike minnow are predatory fish, and they like calm waters, and with the rivers being dammed up and so forth, well, it's caused more slack water, and when the juvenile salmon and other species come downriver, they're easy prey for the pike minnow, and they've kind of flourished. So there's quite an effort to eliminate as many as possible. And over the years, the Rotary Club has eliminated over 100,000 of these pike minnow. And that's and there are also other efforts. And there's certain places downriver there are they pay people to catch those. We've teamed up with the PUD, and they help us, and we eliminate as many as we possibly can over a 2-day weekend. And turns out that the timing is just right for Father's Day, so that's when we do it.
You can get your entry forms at Bob Files Boats and Motors, also at Hooked on Toys and Bi-Mart. Dan Files says there are a lot of really cool prizes up for grabs.
Yes, we have 24 overall prizes, and so the participants have a great chance to win. There's a boat. We're giving away over $10,000 in prizes, and like I say, there's 24 prizes. You can win a couple cases. You can win 2 at different prizes, but the large prizes you can only win 1 of those. So it's a great opportunity for a real good reward. It does good for the community. The Rotary invests back in the community, and so that's what works out. And it's a good weekend to spend with your family. And fortunately for us, this week is one of the activities that you can still do, because we've eliminated where the areas where we would have close contact, and we can still put on our derby and continue to do that.
It's the 28th annual Pike Minnow Derby, put together and put on by the East Wenatchee Rotary Club. It starts Friday at 6 o'clock in the evening and ends Sunday at 11:30 in the morning. Weather's going to be perfect. The stretch of water is basically Rock Island Dam to the south, Wells Dam to the north. They'll have weigh-ins at Wenatchee's Riverfront Park and at the Rondo River Park. And again, we're going to re-air my interview with Dan File in the back half of this program. And that's sports at 24 minutes after the hour. Let's all celebrate the obscure holiday. It's National Fudge Day. I associate fudge, for reasons unknown, with Christmas. I don't know, it was a treat that we had at Christmas, and I don't recall any other time really eating fudge. And we also, I think the vast majority of us, I'm speaking of me, but I think most of us associate fudge with chocolate. But that's wrong. There's all kinds of different fudges. You can pick out on pumpkin pie fudge, maple walnut fudge, vanilla fudge, coconut fudge, blueberry fudge, cherry fudge, Kahlua fudge, cheesecake fudge, raspberry fudge, gingerbread fudge, you name it. So if you got a sweet tooth, you can turn almost anything into fudge. Fudge used to be extremely difficult to make back in the day. Fudge was a real treat because it was so hard to make exactly right, because you had to, back in the day, you had a wood-fired fireplace or stove, and you had because to make fudge correctly, you have to have the temperature exactly right. Now it's easy because you have precise temperature control. So Throw a little corn syrup, a little marshmallow fluff, a little condensed milk, whip it all up, heat it up, got yourself a little fudge. Pretty easy to make. Happy National Fudge Day today. Day in history on this 15th day of June. A couple of behemoths celebrate birthdays, and we're talking about corporate behemoths. That's the original logo for the Ford Motor Company, which was incorporated on this date, June 15th, 1903, 117 years ago. It's still one of the biggest automobile manufacturers in the world. It produces about 5.5 million autos every year. They have 90 plants worldwide. They employ about 190,000 people. And like a lot of big companies, they've had their ups and their downs, but they're still here. And by the way, even though the Ford family owns a minority of the stock, they hold a majority of the voting stock. So even after all these years, 117 years, the Ford family still runs the Ford Motor Company. And another behemoth, Big Blue. IBM was founded. It wasn't founded as IBM, International Business Machines. It was founded as the Computing, Tabulating, Recording Company in Endicott, New York. It's still in upstate New York. It was founded on this date 109 years ago today. IBM is huge. IBM is an acronym. I have a couple of friends who used to work for IBM, and IBM would be an acronym for IB Movin'. At its peak in 2010, so 10 years ago, when IBM was at its absolute zenith of power, they had a gross income of $1 billion a year, and they had 426,000 employees worldwide. IBM holds the patents. Are you ready for this? IBM is the patent holder for the ATM, the automatic teller machine, the floppy disk, the hard disk drive in your computer. IBM holds the patent for that. Magnetic stripes on the back of your debit card or credit card. They have the patent to that. And the UPC barcode. IBM has the patent for that as well. IBM, 109 years old today, and 55 years ago today. June 5th, 1965. Bobby Gregg, Joe Macho Jr., Frank Owens, Al Cooper, Bruce Langhorne, Mike Bloomfield, and Bob Dylan convened at Studio A at Columbia Studios on 7th Avenue in New York City and recorded one of the greatest songs ever, Like a Rolling Stone. I'll never forget the first time I heard that song. It absolutely barreled me over. And in the thousands of times I've heard it since then, it still carries a tremendous amount of weight. It's over 6 minutes long, and it was, of course, it's a rave-up rock and roll song, and that because it was over 6 minutes long and because it didn't really adhere to Columbia Records' idea of what a hit single would be, a lot of radio stations didn't play it. Became a huge hit anyway, went all the way to number 2, didn't go to number 1. Oh well. By the way, Bob Dylan has played Like a Rolling Stone in concert over 2,000 times. How does it feel? Bob Dylan, Tucker Wagner's favorite artist. 29 minutes after the hour. Birthdays. Geronimo, born in this state in 1829, lived a long time. For Native Americans, this is remarkable. He lived almost to the age of 80. Geronimo did. Of course, he was a member of the Apache tribe who led raids against the U.S. from 1848 to 1886. He was actually not the leader of the Apaches. He was just really good at what he did, which was making life for the white cowboy settlers out west not particularly fun. He was finally captured, but he was such a legend that even though he was technically a prisoner of war, the U.S. Army would take him out to fairs, exhibitions, festivals, and they would show him off and they would pay him. Get your picture taken with Geronimo. Yeah, even though he was technically a prisoner of war, so he became kind of a legend after he got caught. Geronimo, born in the state in 1829. I'm a huge fan of Laurel and Hardy. Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel. Stan Laurel was born in Ireland in this state in 1890. Died at the age of 74 back in 1965. Of course, one half of Laurel and Hardy, which is just gold. It's just funny, funny stuff. He also wrote and directed almost all of their films. Oliver Hardy let Stan Laurel take care of the creative part of the Laurel and Hardy films. After Oliver Hardy died in the late 1950s, Stan Laurel said, I'm done. I'm not going to work anymore. If I can't work with Babe, which was his nickname for Oliver Hardy, I'm not going to work at all. And he didn't. Stan Laurel, great guy, funny guy, born in the state in 1890. And look who's eligible for the Senior PGA Tour. Phil Mickelson, he's 50 today. Lefty. His nickname is Lefty. He's actually right-handed. He just plays left-handed. He's won 44 events on the PGA Tour, 5 major championships. He has 3 Masters championships. He won an Open championship in Great Britain in 2005 or 2013, also a PGA championship. In the U.S. Open, Phil Mickelson has finished runner-up. He's finished second 6 times in the U.S. Open. It's his one missing major. Phil Mickelson, 50 years old today. Happy birthday to Lefty. All right. 31 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break, come back with an opinion from Mike Magnotti, and then we're going to replay the interview I did with Dan Files so you guys can get in the mood for fishing. Weather's going to be great to grab a bunch of pike minnows this weekend, win some cash prizes. It's cool. My conversation with Dan Files coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
We know times are a little different right now, but we wanted to let you know that we have you covered. So during this time, you can focus more about the important things in life, like your home, friends, yourself, and your family.
This is the best tea party ever.
If you have family or friends who need guidance through this unique time, please share this valuable information. We want them to be able to enjoy what matters in life.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning has been proudly serving the Wenatchee Valley for over 35 years. And just as Dick's has been there for you, they have also been an essential part of our community, supporting local youth sports all year long and your Wenatchee Wild.
Thanks for your support.
Thanks, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, for all your support. Thank you.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, your local, independent, trained comfort specialist. Call 884-6444 today.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Yeah.
There he is. Sure wish he was here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Little 4-point.
It's a nice coconut.
Solid fish.
Watch the Northwest Outdoorsman with Richie Herod Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 4:30 p.m. on the NCW Life channel.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly sparkling water. Crack a smile.
I have a hereditary bone disease from the female side of my family. My bone loss was so significant that you could almost see the roots. I became embarrassed and I started covering my mouth. Eating became very difficult as far as I stopped eating apples, corn on the cob, things that you just eat as it is without utensils. Dr. Divis was my dentist prior to having implants. We talked about traditional dentures or implants, and implants was the only way really that I could go. John Divis and all of his office staff, they checked on me throughout all the processes. I would never go anyplace else. Today, I can eat corn on the cob. I can have apples. Thanks to Dr. John Divis and his staff, I have my smile back. I feel more confident. I am me again.
This is John Divis. Let our team help you solve your dental needs.
Hey, this is Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. A friend of mine once told me that he had issues with gay people because, I quote, "I can't accept the gay lifestyle." So I said to him, the gay lifestyle, who determines that? I said he and I were longtime married heterosexual men who were committed to their wives and families. And I said, do we represent the straight heterosexual lifestyle, or does somebody like Madonna, the Kardashians, or that Mo Hugh Hefner? Are these people who represent the hetero lifestyle? The lifestyles of gay people I know just really aren't that much different than mine. These folks love their families, work hard at their jobs, want a better life for their kids, and they just want to come home from work, suck down a brewski, and watch reruns on TV. The gay lifestyle. Okay, whatever. Okay. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
The world around us is constantly changing. Major employers in north central Washington have expressed a need for capable, qualified engineering technologists who can think critically and solve problems. And at Wenatchee Valley College, we listened. We are pleased to offer a Bachelor of Applied Science Engineering Technology degree to provide you with a world of new opportunities. Your time is now. The future is waiting for you.
This is Caitlin Hedershe, the producer of the NCW Life magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCW Life magazine right here on the NCW Life channel.
Nissan is the value leader in new cars and SUVs. Check out these new models starting at under $20,000. The all-new Versa from $17,020. The all-new Sentra from $17,400. And the all-new Kicks from $17,995. Now you can have the Nissan style, performance, and reliability, all for under $20,000.
And they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around North Central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. We're dealing with just a sea of change during this COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of events have been either canceled, postponed, rearranged, downsized, but there's one event that's been going on for almost 30 years that's going to happen on Father's Day weekend that for the most part is going to be like it was for the 27 other times that they've done it. I'm talking about East Wenatchee Rotary Club's annual Pike Minnow Derby, which is coming up Father's Day weekend, June 20th and 21st. And one of the organizers is Dan File, who has agreed to join us this morning. Good morning, Dan.
Morning. How are you today?
It's good. First of all, it's great to see you. I've noticed, like a lot of Dans I've met, you're just a strapping, handsome son of a gun. Wanted to make sure you knew that.
Good thing this isn't a close-up.
Dan, before we get into the meat and potatoes, introduce yourself to our television family.
Okay, I'm Dan File, and I've been here with Bob File Boats and Motors all my life, and right now I'm pretty much retired. I come down to work 6 days a week, but don't stay 12 hours.
I wish I could pull that off. We're super happy to be a part of helping to promote this event. It's the 28th annual Pike Minnow Derby. First things first, Dan, you're a very well-known angler, fisherman around here. What's the story with the pike minnow? Why do we want these things out of the Columbia River?
The pike minnow are predatory fish, and they like calm waters, and with the rivers being dammed up and so forth, well, it's caused more slack water, and when the juvenile salmon and other species come downriver, they're easy prey for the pike minnow, and they've kind of flourished. So there's quite an effort to eliminate as many as possible. And over the years, the Rotary Club has eliminated over 100,000 of these pike minnow. And that's and there are also other efforts. And in certain places downriver, there are they pay people to catch those. We've teamed up with the PUD, and they help us, and we eliminate as many as we possibly can over a 2-day weekend, and turns out that the timing is just right for Father's Day, so that's when we do it.
So before the Columbia was dammed up, and of course the Columbia River is more like a series of reservoirs now than it was a river, as it were, say 100 years ago. Pike minnows wasn't a problem because the river ran so fast, right? And now because the river is so much slower, they've been able to get a toehold.
Not as much, and I don't know the history of the pike minnow, whether it was a native or not, but anyway, it's become more, it adds to the problem. So there's been an effort to eliminate as many as possible. So it works out. That's been the solution, and it's worked well.
Well, obviously you've been doing 27 of these in a row, so that, I like it when you can say something annual behind it. That's always really good. And for you anglers out there, there's money to be had. There's prizes to be had.
Yes, we have 24 overall prizes, and so the participants have a great chance to win. There's a boat. We're giving away over $10,000 in prizes, and like I say, there's 24 prizes. You can win a couple cases. You can win two at different prizes, but the large prizes you can only win one of those. So it's a great opportunity for a real good reward. It does good for the community. The Rotary invests back in the community, and so that's what works out. And it's a good weekend to spend with your family. And fortunately for us, this week is one of the activities that you can still do, because we've eliminated where the areas where we would have close contact, and we can still put on our derby and continue to do that.
Well, you bring up a very important point, Dan. What are the physical parameters of the derby itself? Where can you put in, and where are the outskirts of either side of where they want you to get the pike minnows?
Basically, you can fish from Rock Island Dam to Wells Dam in those two reservoirs. So any place you can launch. Some of the popular places are Chelan Falls area, then other by Indiat, and any of those ramps are available. So you want to check that out a little bit ahead of time, make sure that you can get in, but there aren't any restrictions as far as I am aware of on launch facilities at the moment.
And I saw a picture of a pike minnow. I think we're doing them a favor by catching them. They're not particularly attractive fish.
They're pretty ugly and slimy.
What's the best for those folks who say I want in, but I have no idea how to catch a pike minnow? What's your advice, Dan? What works?
Well, a lot of the folks have used chicken livers, which you can get, and then they'll take just about anything because they're very aggressive. So if you get in amongst them and have any kind of a lure, it will attract them. Worms, I suspect just about anything that smells like food to them, they'll take.
Now, as far as keeping the pike minnows, do you have to put them in a live well? Can you just kill them and put them in a box? How does that work?
Well, we don't want a bunch of dead, rotten fish. So because they're bad enough when they're live. But at any rate, we'd like people to keep them on ice if they can. A live well is not necessary. We don't need them alive, but oftentimes we get them and they're flopping all over. But ice is a preferred way for us, and just don't let them spoil. Bring them in. We have the weigh stations open. They're open from 9 to 7 on Saturday, and 9 to noon on Sunday. So you can bring them in a couple times, take a break, and get the fish in so that they don't turn bad. You don't want them in your boat that way anyway.
I'm like a lot of people. I love to fish, but I really love to catch fish. And what I'm finding out from you, Dan, is if you find a bunch of pike minnow hanging around together, you're going to get some fast action, right?
If you find that bunch, you will certainly. Some of the fishermen are incredibly good at it, and it takes a little technique, but I think once you get onto it, it's fishing it and catching. It's not a case of just fishing and standing there with a sandwich in your hand and your pole in your other hand.
And there is a prize, because every angler out there likes to brag about the big fish that they caught. There's an actual prize if you bring in the single largest pike minnow, right?
The largest fish is worth $150. Second largest is worth $75, and then $50 for the one after the third largest. And then if you catch the most weight, that's $300, and there's 5 prizes, and they go on down. Pardon me, yeah, 5, and they go on down from there.
Now, for those, as we mentioned before, the Pike Minnow Derby is this weekend. It starts out Friday, June 19th at 6 in the evening, runs through Sunday, Father's Day at 11:30 in the morning. Outside of this time frame, if you're out and about and you're fishing at the Columbia, they still want you to catch pike minnows and get rid of them, right?
I'm sure you can. It doesn't, really, that's probably the only rule we have is that you should fish in those parameters so that it's fair to the other fishermen. But I'm sure if you catch a pike minnow, they really prefer you don't return it live back to the water.
That makes perfect sense. Dan File, give me the meat and potatoes. How do I get involved? Where do I get my tickets, sponsors, all that cool stuff, Dan?
Okay, we have the PUDs, the Chelan County PUD is our main sponsor. The Douglas County PUD also contributes. And then you can purchase tickets at Hooked on Toys, Buy Mart, and Bob File Boats and Motors. And then if you can't get in to get one, if you go fishing and bring your fish in to a weigh station, we will send you a ticket at the point when you bring them in, and you can get it then. We prefer you do it earlier because we need to run these through a computer, but that's the basic setup. And you just come to either the Rondo River Park up at Rondo or to the Rondo Boat Street ramp, well, I guess we still call it, but it's behind Pybus Market. So you can come there, and that's our 2 weigh-in stations, and we will weigh your fish. And if you haven't purchased a ticket, we can sell you one.
Are there special rules or things that kids need to know about this? Because this sounds like a wonderful Father's Day thing to get the kids out in the boat with Dad and Grandpa and catch some pike minnow.
Well, kids fish for free if they're with an adult that's purchased a ticket. So any youngster can, I believe it's under 14 or 15. I can look, but anyway, they get a free ticket. They have to have a ticket to be eligible for the prizes. So we want to get a ticket at the same time when you purchase your ticket for the adults. But if they want to participate, it's a great opportunity, and we do have prizes for youth, and they're not insignificant either.
Super duper thanks. I have it right here to Bob File Boats and Motors, Hooked on Toys, Buy Mart, Max Lures, the best lures made anywhere, Douglas County PUD, Pepsi, and again, tickets are at Hooked on Toys, Bob File Boats and Motors, and at Buy Mart as well. As Dan mentioned, they ask you to purchase them in advance. And finally, Dan, I got just a huge shout out to the East Wenatchee Rotary Club, who's been taking the lead on this from day one.
We've been real fortunate to be able to do that. Actually, it was originally started by the gentleman with Wenatchee Boat Club, and they had a marked fish, and after a couple years, they no longer wanted to do it, so we took it over, and it's turned out very well for the club. It's been our main fundraiser for the things that we do in the community. We give scholarships and other things to help community needs and donate to food banks and whatever. So that's kind of the things that Rotary does. It all goes back in the community, and it's a win for everything in the whole. The fish are removed, the salmon get down the river, Rotary Club gets a reward for doing it, and the people get the community help. So there's a win-win there for everybody, and it's great fun and great opportunity to enjoy your weekend with your family.
I mean, how good can it be? You go out in the water, you get to be with your family on Father's Day weekend, you get to catch a bunch of predatory fish that we want to get them out of the Columbia, and you can win money. I mean, come on.
It's a great deal. It's one of the best deals going.
Absolutely.
And maybe the only deal going now.
You know, when it comes to family recreation, Dan File is going to make you smile, buddy. Let me tell you. Dan, thank you for taking some time out from your busy day and talking to us. Everything that we talked about, by the way, if you go to the East Wenatchee Rotary page, the pamphlet is right there. Everything that you need to know. And again, it's Father's Day weekend. It starts Friday, goes all the way through Sunday. Dan File, it's so great to see you again, my friend.
Thank you very much. I was able to get past the challenge of getting on this thing, and so it worked out great.
Dan, take care, and I hope to hear from you guys sometime like on the 22nd and 23rd of June to let us know how many pike minnow we got out of there and how everybody did, okay?
Super. We'd be glad to report that. Hopefully we get very many.
Dan File with the 28th annual Pike Minnow Derby, which again is Father's Day weekend. Dan, it's good to see you. Take care, my friend.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Aging and Adult Care offers many in-home care options and services for seniors and family caregivers. But did you know they also offer free in-home delivered meals? Aging and Adult Care has expanded its program for home-delivered meals to help elderly and vulnerable adults at this challenging time. If you are in need of prepared meals or know someone who could benefit, call Aging and Adult Care for more information about free home-delivered meals. Call 509-886-0700.
I work in healthcare, and we give all of our employees free Works memberships. Why? Because health is important to us. And when people are healthier, they're better at their jobs, but they're also better at life. And that's who we are, and that's who Works is. Works is not just a gym. It's a place, it's an organization that actually celebrates health.
When you've been the victim of a crime, the feelings of fear, confusion, and helplessness can feel like you've been left in the dark alone. But you're not alone. Together for Youth's Crime Victim Advocate provides caring, confidential assistance with crisis intervention, safety planning, financial support, and access to a network of community resources. If you've been the victim of a crime, call Together for Youth at 509-662-7201 or visit togethercd.org. Because all victims have rights.
And we are back. And if you're planning on grabbing as many pike minnow as you can out of the Columbia River on Saturday and Sunday, the forecast is looking pretty good for a little fishing. But we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. We have some time, and now that the sun's been up for almost 3 hours, let's take another tour around the valley with our Valley View cameras. Once again, the cross camera gets to do its duty first, and as you can see, the clouds have already began to part out a little bit. It was considerably cloudier when this show began about an hour ago, but the temperature hasn't moved much. We're only at 54. We started out at 52 degrees, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, sunrise today 5:03, sunset 9 o'clock sharp, 15 hours 57 minutes of daylight. That's the same as it was yesterday. It'll be the same tomorrow, and pretty much the same on Thursday and Friday before we get to Saturday, which is the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. And then gradually the days get shorter, but it's such, the difference between sunrise and sunset is so small now that it's almost imperceivable that the days are actually going to get shorter. But a beautiful view of the Wenatchee Valley. Good stuff. Camera number 2, if I remember correctly, we were off to Cole's Corner, and we are now. I can see what it is. I couldn't do that an hour. Oh, Megan, move the camera. Well, that makes it simple enough. The only reason I can ever pick out Cole's Corner is where you see the high powered lines, power lines that are cutting a swath there, where they cut down the forest and put up the transmission poles and the transmission lines. That's how I can tell Cole's Corner from the other places. Good morning to our friends in Winton, Cole's Corner, the Lake Wenatchee area. Thanks for starting your day with us. We have a lot of people who like to watch our show. Why? I don't know. Camera number 3, back to the Manson Water Tower. We go. Lake Chelan looking good. Lake Chelan is now full. It's filled to the brim with water. I think it's remarkable if they could actually control the level of the lake. If you think about it, that's pretty significant engineering feat. It really is. Good morning to our friends at Lake Chelan with the Chelan Butte off in the distance to the upper left. And finally, camera 4, I believe it's back to the Arundel Rock camera, and it is. Is it me, or does that look really blue? The Columbia River, that just looks neat. Lake Antiat, of course, and we mentioned this before. We mentioned this with Dan Fowle in the interview I just conducted. Of course, the Columbia River isn't really much of a river anymore. It's got so many dams on it. It's basically one reservoir followed by another reservoir all the way down to the Pacific Ocean. But if it wasn't for the Columbia River, we wouldn't be sitting here. Good morning to our friends in Arundel as we look at US 2, US 97 on the east side of the Columbia River. All right, I want to show you this slide one more time because it's going to be warming up here in the Wenatchee Valley as the week progresses. And then next week, it's going to get hot, going to get really, really hot. When we're all for it because it's been cool. Again, we only hit 64 yesterday, 14 degrees below normal. Still below normal today. Then we're going to be a little bit above normal by the time we get to Wednesday of this week. Thursday warmer still, but the big story is going to be next week. For the first full week of summer, temperatures will be above normal in many locations, well above normal in the Pacific Northwest. And for those people who've been sitting around and waiting for the sunny and warm and pleasant weather, your wait is almost over because things are looking good with a little bit of change in the forecast for the weekend and beyond. Let's go ahead and give you that forecast detail in detail. Here's what we're looking at. Still a mixture of clouds and sun, maybe a light raindrop. Don't think that's going to happen. If the farther east you go, you have a better chance of catching a raindrop or two. So there you go. High of about 70, which is still cooler. Actually a lot cooler than normal. Our normal high, again, is about 78 degrees for this time of the year. 53 for the overnight low tonight. A little windy at times tonight. No real wind at all today. But we'll have a northwest wind tonight about 10 to 13 miles an hour. Wednesday, we're going to be finally cracking that 80-degree mark, 82 for our high on Wednesday under quite a bit of sunshine. A little bit of wind late in the afternoon, early evening on Wednesday, and that spills into Wednesday night. So we're going to have clear skies Wednesday night with an overnight low of about 53, but it's going to be a little on the breezy side. Northwest wind about 11 miles an hour, but the occasional gust above 20 is possible late Wednesday afternoon in to Wednesday night. Thursday, sunshine 86 degrees, wind dies down to almost nothing. Looks really good on Thursday. Friday, near 90 with lots of sunshine. And then, as I mentioned before, a little bit of change in the forecast. We're going to be under the influence of a high pressure ridge on Thursday and Friday, but it's not a dome of high pressure. When it's a dome, of course, it's considerably stronger, and as systems come in and smack up against that dome, they go elsewhere, and the dome keeps us sunny and dry and warm. But the high pressure ridge that's coming in Thursday and Friday is actually kind of flat, and that means there's going to be just a little bit of a ridge that's going to come through. It's going to knock that high pressure ridge just a little bit out of alignment, so we're expecting just a few clouds mixed with the sun. There'll be high clouds, but there'll be filtered clouds, which means even though it's going to be warm, 91 on Saturday, a little bit cooler, perhaps a little more cloud cover on Sunday with a high of 87. And then, as you saw previously, the warm-up begins Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're talking mid-90s, perhaps even upper 90s by this time next week. Get ready for the warm-up, which ironically enough is the first full week of summer. That's it for us. Everybody have a good and safe Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.